Hello everybody, thanks for joining me and welcome back. I am Mr. JP, the game is out of awe. Thank you to everyone who's viewing and subscribing. It's great, amazing, like I can't believe it sort of thing. And thank you to the devs for the game. This is the loader one, so we're going to be running this loader and I'm going to be demonstrating how over time the game appears to leak memory again like I did in the last bulldozer episode. So yeah, first we're going to set up GPS so that I don't go too deep. So in this one the blade is actually aligned with the GPS even though you can't see it at the moment. So I just bring it down just to the point where I start lifting the wheels off the deck. There we go. Doesn't really matter about the blade angle at this point, you can point it straight down if you wanted to set this up. It's on that front edge from what I can tell. I may be incorrect, but you just click the 0 here on this yellow box and it will zero it and you get a green line showing that you're at level. Yellow's obviously above's above, below's below. Pretty simple really. So I'm going to go in here and there you go, you can see I've dropped off that ramp and I've already dropped below because I've dug a little deep. But it doesn't matter because I keep backfilling this area with the bulldozer anyway, so it all hunky-dory in the wash, works out. So yeah, we'll just start loading up this machinery. Now, what I'm going to do, so I've done a quit to the main menu and jumped back into the game, and it appears to have fixed the frame problem. So all I need to do is put the effect of wiping all of those tables that have recorded all of the mud you've moved into the machinery, or moved into these new piles, and clean them up every few minutes of gameplay, and we'll have a game that you can play for longer than 20 minutes at a time whilst digging. So yeah, that's my first gripe. There's a memory leak, guys. Over time, the game leaks a little as you dig. It seems to record everything you dig in a table. The table gets too big, and you start getting massive frame rate drops and stuff. I don't know. I'm not a programmer. I know roughly how programming works and stuff, but never really done it. I push electrons together. If you want a railgun, I'm your man. If you want like a railway in a computer game, you're gonna have to talk to Q. So yeah, anyway, as you can see I'm sliding around a bit there with the loader, and it's because I put my blade down on something that needs smoothing effectively. It's like a ghost image to the digging equipment, like that peak there that I've just gone through. But you just back up, go back in, and you can just gently scoop, and there's no longer the pushing back and forth to spawn the balls. That scraper is scraping them, and the bucket is filling in bulk mode, because this is bulking. This is a soil mod. This is what the bulking is about. You saw it on the dozer as it built up on the front of the blade, and so the idea of this is, from what I've read on the Discord, to give us haul trucks, big haul trucks, and I'm looking forward to big haul trucks because they're bigger volume and that kind of thing. But to get those bigger volumes without destroying your graphics card with physics calculations and your processor and whatever else you're running, the material has to be turned into a block that doesn't really have physics applied to it in the vehicle, so when you're driving along it doesn't have to calculate each individual block's physics. So that's the idea, is to help the game drop frame rate of this mod. You can see I'm loading away here, and I'm not even really trying to fast cycle. I am distracted by my talking. Not gaming particularly well, but yeah, I'm just trying to scrape out and clean in front of the hopper at the moment from the overspill from the dumper. And you just push those humps up in front of you and push material around until you get nice level surfaces. It works quite well. It works well on the road building, which I'll be demonstrating shortly once it starts to lag out on frames. But as you can see, as I'm loading this hopper, those balls hang around for damn ages. And they're eating my processor power by just sitting in there and bouncing against each other as they disappear one by one. It's a hopper. It should be like the back of a dumper in bulk load mode, so that when you dump this stuff in, it turns into balls, drops in and turns into like it's filled in this bucket here. Like that texture. It can move like the conveyor belt texture. That would be great as well, because I mean, the conveyor belt texture could just be raised upwards to show that it's got some in it. And with that running sideways, you can tell it's not a hopper blockage of solid material as well, rather than the solid material look that's in the bucket. That's very similar to the fixed ground, you see. So if it was moving all the time, that'd be great. But then it wouldn't have to physics generate all these balls. Look at them! Look at them! I mean, what the hell, guys? What the hell? Each one's an individual packet that your processor's got to run. They need to disappear fast. It's a hopper. The hopper can hold them whilst the conveyor takes it out at a certain rate. That's what hopper's for! Likewise, give us the ability to turn these hoppers off and on so we can use them for vehicle loading. And that way it sits there in a non-physics generated state until we put it into a vehicle. Instead of having to, you know, load vehicles as machines are running, or have an extra machine on the system to use as a backlogger. You'll see what I mean later on when I'm road building. So yeah, I'm loading up this machine at the moment, and that hopper is getting full of those little balls of doom to your graphics card. I've got a 1080, which is reasonable for full. I know it's not top of the line, but a lot of people say that, to be quite honest, the difference between it and its bigger brother is so small that you may as well have the lower priced one or whatever. So economics comes into this, people. You know, you don't need a Ferrari if you're pootling around at 70. And most of the time I am, like, you know, my graphics card eats some high graphics games perfectly fine. So it's how games are written and it's how they're optimised. So what I'm doing here is I'm just starting to load the second hopper, and this second hopper goes to the second machine. And the point of this is, as you can see, a loader can smooth out a nice ramp. I built that ramp in over there in my last session, which I did film, but the sound went wrong. I worked out why. So I've got a nice ramp in there if I want to use this for dumper truck work, but I need to expand this area a little anyway for that. So just do some of that. But as you can see, once again, there's still balls in this hopper each time I'm cutting, and this is a longer turnaround than the other one. So you end up with a backlog of those. But as I say, the loader, you can just push it down, push it forward till it's full, and then you can push up a little bankment, which is kind of handy if you're working in an area that's high up like that, a high step up there. You can just sort of push to the edge of the bank like I have over there, and create yourself a nice little berm to keep your machines from dropping off, which is kind of handy, because when you recover it resets all your mods, lose your GPS, all that kind of thing. Essentially, when you recover a machine, it generates you a new machine. So yeah, and so what I've been doing to try and extend the time I can dig for, I'm using these 3 hoppers up here. I'm going to add a 4th because this works. And you can actually increase the amount of time you can dig for quite well before the crash. I'm taking it off the top just because if it keeps piling up, you end up with something higher than the loader and it gets really awkward to dig into. But I filled up that other hopper with balls, now I'm filling this one because a certain amount of them do disappear straight away. So it's better to put a bucket full in each hopper and have less balls in total hanging around than put 3 buckets in that hopper quickly and have 2 bucketfuls worth of balls just sat there, you see. This way a third of a bucketful gets absorbed instantly all of the time. They're going into the same conveyor, into the same machine, but because of all the small hoppers on the route, it delays it. So when I activate those machines, even if this near machine with 2 hoppers on it instead of 1 has got more in than the other one will have piled it up quicker because it's got less hoppers on the line, so it will look fuller, strangely enough. So everything over here is running little balls at the moment, so we'll come back over and we'll just drop into this one. So you're now getting the multiple hopper layout and why my place looks like some kind of octopus of conveyors on some kind of steroids. But yeah, I've been going at this like some kind of mad mole. Just gently take the topsoil off there, because ironically that topsoil is what I want at the moment. It's got no money in it. But to demonstrate what I'm going to be demonstrating next up, I've been digging for 10 minutes, I'm still not seeing any frame rate drop when I drop into these holes, which is good. We're going to be wanting to get a dumper in, so let's go for some high grade. So yeah, you can go in halfway up with the loader and just gently raise it as you dig in. Get yourself a scoopful. I don't think that was a full one, but it's close enough. You can tell how much is in there by the height on it, and you can actually see the texture through the back of the bucket when it's full. So that's a nice little indicator for you. I mean, it is a glitch, but it's handy. It's how you use these glitches. Game round them, people. Game round them. Don't get frustrated. Get even. Always a rule in my life. I like even is good. Whatever I do, I try and stay level. It's currently not working very well, but that's because I'm no longer level, and it's not my fault. So yeah, as I say, this loader, this 501, is really nice. I love it. As I say, if I could name the model, it would be Vera. Those of you that are fans of oh god, what's it called? Firefly will understand Vera. Great show. Pity that it was kind of a rip-off of something else, and I think it's Joss Whedon, the guy who came up with it, couldn't really carry on with it. But yeah, a bit like Farscape nearly died a death, but Farscape came back, and Firefly didn't. But Firefly did make it as a movie afterwards, and so it's not many things that go from series to movie as a failure. So I suppose there's a bit of a weird one in Firefly for that. The movie is called Serenity, and if you ignore the fact that it's pretty cheap, there are some deep thoughts going on. So yeah, I like a thoughtful